All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and we are going to talk about more Jabberjawn in the 135 and 140 pound division. Gervonta Tank Davis and Teofimo Lopez. Let's talk about it in this video. Welcome back. It's your boy Fanon, and we are going to continue talking about this boxing. Gervonta Davis has gone at and called out in a manner Teofimo Lopez ahead of the fight that he has coming up this evening, February 8th, 2024, against Jermaine Ortiz. Before I let you know what's going on, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you are a longtime subscriber, thank you so much for your support. It means a lot. Let's get into this. Gervonta Davis is the WBA 135 pound champion. And he is one of the longest, one of the biggest names in boxing, having sold over 1.2 million pay-per-views again in his very last fight against Ryan Garcia, and that took place last year. I do believe that was in mid portion of last year. And now people are asking, what is he going to do next? There's a bunch of talk about fights with Conor Benn, Frank Martin, and an assortment of other fighters. Well, yesterday he had something to say about Teofimo Lopez, who was the WBO world champion at the weight class above him, 140 pounds. And Teofimo Lopez is a former, I know y'all will love it when I say this, a former undisputed champion at 135 pounds. He defeated the former undisputed champion at 140 pounds, who goes by the name of Josh Taylor. He has one loss, but looks like he's on his way up. And if he can pull this fight off tonight against Jermaine Ortiz Thursday night on the return of Thursday night fights on ESPN, he's going to be looking even better. The top guy in the 140 pound division, according to a lot of people. And Gervonta Davis said, replying to a comment, says, "Don't worry, I'm going to punch him in his SHIT as soon as I see him," right? So not calling out for a fight, but starting some beef with Teofimo Lopez, which will inevitably lead to, I hope, conversations about the two of these guys fighting soon. Now, obviously, there are the usual holdups to these fights between the two, because one guy is with the PBC and is going to be fighting on Amazon Prime, and the other guy is with ESPN at Top Rank and is going to be fighting on ESPN. But if we want to know what the biggest fights in the division could be, this fight right here, especially if Teofimo Lopez gets on a winning streak, that is probably it between Gervonta Davis and Teofimo Lopez. Both of these guys, well, Teofimo Lopez is a big puncher, is an exciting fighter to watch. He's a very skilled fighter, a very athletically gifted fighter. And Gervonta Davis and Teofimo Lopez have a history behind the two of them. Gervonta and Teofimo had sparred, and Teofimo Lopez's father was talking a lot of stuff about Gervonta, saying how they beat him up in sparring, and you know, the usual rigmarole that goes on. Gervonta Davis said that basically he hurt Teofimo Lopez in sparring, and then his dad, Teofimo Lopez's dad, said, yeah, he was young, he was small, that's why it happened. I did see a bit of the sparring, and it seemed like Teofimo Lopez was really kind of showing his behind with Gervonta, doing a lot of, you wind up grabbing him, I can't remember exactly what it was, but doing something that was a little bit, seemed like he was playing a little bit, like either grabbing him, holding him, or doing something like muffing his face or something like that. And Gervonta looked like Gervonta got upset about it. And Gervonta started sitting down on his punches with him, walking him down, sitting down on his punches, and looked like he really did hurt Teofimo Lopez. And then Teofimo Lopez's dad gets in there and puts a pause to it when the action gets hot. But anyway you cut it, man, I hope the fight can take place. There are so many good fights at between 135 and 140 pounds. Now, obviously, the thing is that Gervonta is, it was whether or not Gervonta would fight at 140 pounds against Teofimo Lopez, right? Because Teofimo says he can't make 135 pounds anymore. And Gervonta Davis is a 135 pounder that can still, according to Leonard Ellerby and according to anybody with eyes, can still make 130 pounds if he wants to, but is comfortable at 135 pounds. But man, I hope that we can get that fight. I think that fight would probably be one of the biggest fights in boxing, because again, for the same reason that Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia was so big, because it brings two different fan bases. You have a Latino fan base in Teofimo Lopez, and you have an Black American and other fan base in Gervonta Davis. The two of these guys, as from the words of Steven Espinoza, this is a case where one and one can equal 4, because you bring in a lot of attention outside, and that's something that is not there for some other fighters. But then other fighters that still want to see the fights, and hopefully the fights can get made. But again, these dudes are doing a lot of talking, and that's because we live in the social media age where you hear every little thing that they're saying, and their voice and words can get out to millions of people right away. And so you have a bunch of people calling a bunch of people out, and it's just where we live right now. I'm not going to get it confused, though. I know that the hurdles that are there for a fight between Gervonta and Teofimo Lopez, and that is the promotional company. And the fact that Teofimo Lopez is with Bob Arum, he is with Top Rank. So Top Rank fighters are probably going to be the ones that he fights. I think we have a chance sooner to see a fight between Teofimo Lopez and, say, Shakur Stevenson than we do of seeing Gervonta Davis against Teofimo Lopez, or Gervonta Davis versus Shakur Stevenson. Because unless those guys get out of those contracts that they have with Bob Arum is looking to find fights for the other fighters that he has. And since we're in this age where everybody's accusing everybody of ducking, I think it's important when we talk about these boxing subjects to let it be known that that is a very real thing. That is not imaginary. That is not something that a Twitter post and an email between the two of these guys saying, hey, do you want to have a fight? Yeah, I want to have a fight. And okay, I'm going to send you an offer for a fight. Okay, yeah, great. Sorry, it's not going to work out. Oh, he priced himself out. Or no, he didn't. I didn't price myself out. All of that nonsense is going to go on and go on and on, adding frustration to the world. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.